Conquering Mount Scrapper with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and we're here with another episode of Mini Monday. Yes, Mini Monday. And today we're doing planes. Yes, the plane, boss, the plane. I just, when I thought of this, we have to do a plane. Because we haven't done anything, you know, for like this kind of like cutesy, you know, for kind of possibly a boy's quilt or whatever. You could make your airplanes any color. You could use your backgrounds, whatever color. I decided I was going to go with a gray plane and a pink background. You know, like sometimes when you see planes fly off into the sunset or sunrise, it's that pink sky that's behind them. I thought, okay, this works. This one works. It's so cute. But anyway, so you're going to find this PDF in the show notes below or the description box, so go looking for them. Now, let's get our shout outs done so I don't forget. The Quilters Nook Incorporated and Quilting Central Podcast. Now, both of those YouTube channels are going to be in our show notes below. You got to check them out. They both have very interesting voices, and it's like, yeah, you know, some of it you can relate to, and you're like, oh yeah, yeah. So you guys remember, when you hit their subscribe button, please tell them that Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you, because we're trying to do something really nice for these people, you know, and when we're doing these shout outs. Sorry. So now we have a Facebook group. It's warm and welcoming and busy. It's getting busy. We're filming this May 8th, and we are just wrapping up Twinkle Twinkle, and it's busy. There's a lot of people in there showing off their beautiful Twinkle Twinkle, and I always encourage people, do your own thing with these sew-alongs, right? You know, like there's the idea, now take off with that idea. But we have seen some amazing Twinkle Twinkle-ish quilts that were coming out, and just fabulous, right? So you got to go check those out. If you're part of the Facebook community, please go check it out. They also have a virtual sewing room hosted for Discord for the Facebook members. We have all sorts of fun chats and fabric exchanges by country to keep the postal costs down. The admins say, please answer the questions, agree to the rules. That's the worst part of their job, is letting new people in, because they want to keep out the scammers and the bad people out of that group. They want a nice, safe place for quilters, right? So it's kind of important that you answer the question and agree to the rules, because then it's a little faster for you to get in there. If they have to start communicating with you and all the rest is like, okay. But anyway, it's a fun group. It's really a fun group. Also, I speak for free to quilting guilds and quilting groups. So if your guild or group is looking for a speaker, I'd be happy to make my best accommodation. This is my way of giving back to the quilting community, because they have been so blessed. I have been so blessed by the quilting community. I just don't even know where to start to explain how blessed I am. So if you're looking for that, please contact me through the About tab, has my email address, or the Facebook group. You can contact me there directly. I'm a little faster at Facebook than I am at email, so sometimes life gets pretty busy around here, and email gets, okay, I'll get to it tomorrow, yeah, it doesn't work. Also, if you guys have shout outs, I have found so many amazing new channels from your shout outs. I am just so thrilled and so blessed that you're sending them my way. Now, those shout outs, I mean, don't tell them, of course, but you can either send me their link or their name of their channel or whatever under the email, as you'll find under the About tab, or through the Facebook group. Just don't tell them. Don't tell them. We're sneaking around to do something nice, right? So, also, we've been involved with 2 collaborations this spring, summer, and fall. Wow, are they fun. The first one I'm going to talk about is Handmade by Ying with Donna. Now, her crew, she's assembled quite a few YouTubers, and we're doing all back to basic blocks and quilts, and we're doing kind of like beginner instructions. But not only is it geared to the beginners, but it's also geared to people that have picked up some bad habits. So those collaborators or those other YouTubers, they've got some amazing voices going on. So subscribe to all of them so you don't miss any of that back to basic content, because that's really good content they're putting out. And also the other collaboration is the Quilter Circle Challenge, and I'm participating with Future Cat from New Zealand, Kelly from Kelly's Quilt Plus, Sam Alberts, Kelly from Silly Moon Sewing, Deb from Sewing with Debbie, Michelle from Bits and Pieces, and myself. Now, we've had just a blast challenging each other, and now coming up we're challenging each other, and then we're also challenging our viewers, right? So we have had some amazing things come out of our viewers as well. So you guys, it's beautiful things that are happening. So you got to check those things out too. Let's see, So Yeah Brothers, or So Yeah group, they're doing another Alaska charity drive for quilts to Alaska, and it ends August 15th. Their YouTube link and their .com link are going to be in the show notes below if you want to participate. I guess people that are participating, they're just having a great time doing it. So, you know, this is where to be. All I'm doing is advertising the charity drive. I know nothing more about it after that. So I'm sending them to you, or I'm sending you to So Yeah. Right? Because that's easier, and they can explain it to you. Also, there's Zoom Sew Dates the first Saturday of every month, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, because I'm in Alberta, Canada. We have so much fun on those Zoom Sew Dates, guys. You gotta come check them out. And if you don't have anything to sew that day, you want to bring your crocheting, bring it. I've actually knitted on those sew dates as well, so it's all fine. Making comments, thumbs up, share, like, subscribe, hype on your cell phones, and hitting the bell. All of those things help drive our analytics to allow us to reach more quilters and give them more free patterns too, right? So we're just having a blast. My husband and I are just having such good fun doing this, but it would be nice to get a little bit bigger viewing audience, and then that way we have a whole bunch of free patterns going out to everybody. So I think that's it. Yes, come on in. Let's get to the sewing of plain. Okay, we're at the sewing machine with the plain. I had a laugh when we were doing this. So I picked the dark gray for the plain. You could pick whatever color you wanted. You could make this plain any color you want. It's all good, right? So what we're going to start with is I started by, let me just get these pre-cut grays out of the way because I was pre-cutting. So you need some paper scissors to cut your thing apart. You also need some good quality scissors for just cutting out stuff ahead of time, right? I suppose I could have done this a little different, but we'll do it this way. There we go. And you just kind of pre-cut things a little bit, and it helps speed this along. Now I'm going to try and do 2 planes here at once, and we'll see how this goes. So this is the plane we're working on. So the plane, you flip it over, and I've got all my tracing wheel markings on there. So now what I want to do, and you're all sitting there, why don't you just do, I know. I'm going to put this right down in the middle here like so. I have pins. I know you can use glue, and if you have that Elmer's school glue that, you know, kind of will lightly hold things, you can go for that if you like. I don't have any handy. So it's kind of like, oh dear. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put this down for now. Oops, ouch. And put this down. There we go. And we're going to start trimming off bits that we don't need so we can line up other bits. I know that sounds funny, doesn't it? But because you're doing such tiny piecing, right, it's actually good. So we're going to go and trim off A1. We're just going to fold this out of the way and trim A1 just real quick like, so we can line it up, right? A1, and we could probably do A1 and A2 and A3, but that's okay. We'll just do this instead. That's fine. It'll work. Yep. It's the right fold line. Yes, it is. And there. So it's trim, sew, press, trim, sew, press, trim, sew, press. Right? That's the rhythm you get into when you're doing these. Now you just place that pink down, and it doesn't have to be, it could be a little big if you want. And I'm just going to move that pin out of the way because it's too close to where I'm sewing. Now, sharp needle, close stitches. I'm doing a what, 25 to 30 inch stitch, because I can set my machine up for that. And that's perfect for me to come up with a very tiny, tight stitch. Sharp needle helps perforate the paper and makes this easier for it to come off. So I'm just going to put this down just like so. And that holding it in place will help make little knots in your work, which are handy to have, right, as you're going through this. Now, I'm just going to trim off that bit. There we go. Now, I'm going to trim the other side. See how we're going to have that pink background, that pink sky background? Now we're going to take and trim the other side. And we're just getting it all lined up, just so it just lines up so perfectly. There we go. There. And you get the darker, you get kind of a cloud motif going on this fabric too, right? Which is kind of cute. There we go. Oops. Oops, 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 oops. There we go. And we just line that up like so. There. There. Nice. Nice quick little block. Yes, these blocks are, I don't know, complex, not complex, I wouldn't call them complex, but some people would call them complex. But they're just darling. You know, how you can put all of this stuff together and just make it work, you know. And I'm just making all of this out of my scraps. My scrap pinks and my scrap grays. And at some point they're going to go into a quilt and it'll be adorable, right? So, now, the next piece is the one that's going across the top. Or, okay, according to the numbering, that's supposed to be the little skinny piece. But let's do the big piece across the top. Let's do that one first. That one's probably easier to do. There we go. And there, just lay that down. Okay, get all that lined up. Oh yeah, it's way too big. There we go. There. I find when you're doing these to do more than one at a time. I just find it easier because then you're not losing a bunch of thread. Oops, whoops, 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 whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. There we go. Now, what some planes do is they have the cross wings are a different color, and if you wanted to make this cross wing a different color, you could. I'm just doing like gray silhouettes, like a gray silhouette of a plane. So that's why we went with dark gray. Okay, there we go. Another piece that goes right across. There we go. And we want it to hang over a good, healthy, a very chubby 1/4 inch. That's where we want to be. A chubby 1/4 inch. I guess that's the easiest way to explain it. There we go. There. Now. So I'm going to just cut off this excess gray because we don't need it. We're not going to need this. And then there is our plain wings. And now we put in the skinny piece. Yeah. Oh, we just had so much fun with these. My God, you could just do all blue backgrounds, some orange, some, you know, some pinks, some, just make it real colorful, lovely, you know, kind of a vibe going on. Now, you want to lay this out kind of in the middle, because that's going to go right across your block, out into the seam allowance. There we go. Now, you got to remember which line you're sewing on. You want to sew on a line that's closest to the body of the plane for the little tail piece. Oops, let's get that off. Let's get this off. There, that goes up. Up and out of the way. Okay. There. Get this over. Yeah. This is where you're most likely make a mistake, is on the tail. Because there's two, it's just a tiny little line through the tail. And you want to be able to get that tail right in the middle. And you want the right line. You want to be sewing on the right line. So it's really important. It's smaller than when we were doing the stained glass stuff. That's what this line is. This is smaller than that. So now you just push that up and over out of the way. And there. There we go. And I'm going to just trim it like so. And you got it on the right line. And you just got a little bit like that. Now let me get my pink bits here. There we go. I'm going to make one of those. Oops, sorry. And another one of those. There, and so now I've got 4 tail pieces, and I've got 1 piece here that I'm going to, yeah. So we've got a tail piece and 2 side pieces, so we're good. So I'm just making it big because I can. Okay, now we're sewing on the other line. There we go. Nice. Nice sharp little line. And now we've got the tail on the other one. There we go. Trim that off. And I'm just using the big piece here because I can. Line it up, put it down. So on the other line, the other skinny little line. Okay. Now, we have to do the outside corners for the body. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, just like so. And there's lots holding that together. Oops. Okay, make sure you get a good trim. There we go. This is a really good way of using up stuff in your sewing room. There we go. There. And let's do the other side. Yeah. What did I do? What did I do? I did a, oh dear. Yeah, 87. That's what I did. Yeah, I'm not following the numbers again, right? And I know that confuses people, but, you know, once you get really familiar with these, following the numbers, you know, is okay. We can get it done. We can get this done. So, there we go. We'll do the other side. There. Just like that. There we go. There we go. And now we flip that out of the way. And we got good coverage on the corner. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm finger pressing a lot of this stuff. And, you know, some people go, I'm not comfortable with finger pressing. Okay, that's very true. You know, you can set up a little ironing station where you're sewing. If I were to do that for this video, these videos would be much longer. And, you know, I'm trying to be conscious of the time I'm asking you to watch, right? Because I know there's probably a couple of commercials in here and all the other rest of the stuff too. And it's just like, yeah, well, you know, there we go. I'll get rid of the little black strings, little black fluff. Okay, so now the body is done. We just have the head of the plane, or the front of the plane to do. Right. Oops, there we go. This would be just such an awesome block to do larger and for larger block size, and to just use up all your little its and bits of scrap and low volume and just have some fun. Okay, there. Now, okay, so all of those bits are done. Okay, just like so. That's it. That's the body of your plane. Now let's get to this one. Now this is a little different game here. Where is this? This, okay, A and B. There we go, A and B. So I'm folding it like that just to give me a little bit longer piece. Okay, so now B1 is here. There. There we go. And so in order to make this, oops, let's go. Let's put these, lay these out the right way. There. Nope, that goes like that. Sorry. And like that. So in order for this piece to have the longest possible bit, I'm going to put it like that. Right? Because that will cover that tail. Right? That little tail thing they've got going on. Okay. There we go. And this is the other piece, the other body. Okay, now B1. There we go. There, get all that off. All right. And pull, there we go. Here. Okay, now I've moved that out of the way, and we have really good coverage on that piece, even though it's an odd shape. Pull your pin, do the other side. And yes, these are fiddly. Yes, they're fiddly. Oh my goodness, yes, they're fiddly. But they're so much fun. Okay, so we want to put the next one on. Raise your foot, pull some thread. There we go. Okay, there we go. Pull the pin. Go like that. Yes, we have coverage. Go to B3. There, oops. Okay, you don't need that great big string there. And we're now going to go just like that. Pull all this extra stuff out. There. So we're only left with the stuff we need to cover. Fabric that we need to cover the piece that we're working on. And it's the 1/4 inch past. Now, propeller. The propeller is a tiny little shape again, just like the back rudder piece. Okay. So, where we're going to do this, just like so, and get rid of that little piece, put it in with the pet bed. Oh, we have extra pieces. Why do we have extra pieces? Oh dear. You know, have you ever done that where you've assembled like IKEA furniture and you have extra pieces and it's like, why? Why do I have extra pieces? And you're like, oh no, oops, I'm starting to sew on the wrong line. That would have been bad. There we go. So it's very important you sew on the right line. So you want to sew on the line that's closest to the piecing here. There we go. And trim all of this. There. And you lay that across and get that under your needle. Yeah, I want to make sure I did that one right. Yes, I did. Okay, there we go. And now we trim this because we have the tiniest little triangle in the front. There we go. And I betcha a bottom dollar I can do this and just cut a little triangle off that edge of that and have it fit. Yes, it does. Yes, it fits. So here it goes. Did you see what I did there? Now instead of having cut off another piece from here, this chunk here, what I'm doing is I'm just cutting off a bigger triangle from the bottom here to make my little itty bitty triangle there. You know, I know that we don't normally do that, but it's doable and it works. So, and I find if my scraps are more rectangular and, you know, all that kind of stuff, I tend to use them quicker. Okay, so we just lay that out there. We're going to have all sorts of room. Make sure now we're sewing on the right line. Yes, we are. And there's a big piece of there. Now, okay, here's where it gets interesting. Now you've got your propeller and all this stuff, right? So here's where we got to get a little bit creative. So now we just push all this stuff out of the way, okay? Now we have to figure out where these points are to put this down. Now if we put right into the corner, so let's say we push this through the corner here and up into the corner here, right, okay, all right, here, this should meet. And we could sew this. We could sew it this way. However, we'd have this great big mess of stuff, and it's not gonna be easy on anybody. Because sometimes you can struggle quite a bit before you actually end up with the right line. So let's get everything out of the way or cleared off as best we can. Because we've got a bunch of stuff now. If we trim it, it's easier to line it up, is what I'm trying to say to you guys, right? So trimming all of this, especially when you have one foundation piece to add to another foundation piece paper, you know, now if you trim it, it's just easier. That's all there's to it. Okay, there we go. There. There we go. There. Just like that. So now we got one front. Let's get the other front. And you just lay your ruler down on that 1/4 inch. You just lay it like the 1/4 inch line just right on side that stitch line. There's an seam allowance line and a stitch line. You want to put it on the stitch line, and you just want to make it as perfect as you can. And now we're going to do this one, and this one's a little more juggling complicated, but that's okay because we just go through it. It finishes at 3.5 inch unfinished, 3 inch finish. So it's always a nice little size to play with. Okay. There. They don't look like anything. I never think they look like anything until they're trimmed. And then they look, oh, that really looks nice. Wow, that looks good. Okay. There we go. And last one. There we go. There. There. Okay. Yeah, I always find I get a better, when I have to join foundation paper piecing stuff, I get a better product if I trim before I try and sew them together. It ends up looking better. Okay, so here we go. Let's get one of these babies lined up. Now, you can still put this in like so, but now you're going this way, right? So what you would do is you get 2 pins. One pin to go in one corner, and oops, right in the corner, by the way, right in the corner. You don't want to miss it, and then the other one in the other corner. Now, you're going to match up the corner like here, right? And like here. Wait a minute, right there. Is that it? There. So now we've matched up those 2 corners perfectly, I might add. We're just going to pin in place, and we're going to make sure that we have a really nice finished area. Okay, so now we drop it down and we hold, we pull that first pin. Now we sew across on the line into the other pin, and you pull your pin, and now you hold and sew off the line. Very, very simple, and you end up with a beautifully pieced product. And let's just see, just like that. Isn't that cute? Now, what I also recommend you do is trim a little deeper than the 90 degrees. You know, just to remove a little bit of bulk, just to get the bulk out of the way. Okay, let's do that again. It's very, very simple to do. You don't have to panic, and it's the biggest thing is to take your time. That's it. Just take your time. So it goes in one corner, and it goes in the other corner, right at that peak, right at the peak, right there. You see where those pins are? Now, what you're going to do is you're going to pin them in right at the corner, and again, right at the corner. And I'm going to say the corner is right there. Yes, it is. Okay, so now we push this down in, we tip it, and tip it. Now that tipping does make it a little bit of a curve, but that's okay. It's not like a dramatic curve. Okay, now you go in there, make your little holding, pull your pin, go all the way down the line, pull the other pin, and in the seam allowance you hold it, and then you go forward. There we go. So I'm just going to quickly run around and do my stay stitching, and then we're done. Okay, so let's get this off first, just at a little bit of a more than a 90-degree angle, just to remove some bulk. Okay, let's get our stay stitching on. Perfect. And we want to sew in the seam allowance. Again, sharp needle, tiny stitches, so we get that perfectly no stretch block. Okay. There we go. Oops, there. Any trimming you do, there. Okay, so I am going to just continue around here. Let's make sure all that's turned the right way. Isn't this the cutest little airplane you've seen in your life? Now, if you wanted to make this into a 6.5 inch unfinished for a 6-inch finished block, you would print this at 200. And it would, but you have to keep in mind then your seam allowances aren't the right size, so you have to trim them back to 1/4 inch. Now, if you wanted this a 12-inch block, you would then, print it at 400%. And it would probably take up over 4 pages, right, as you're printing. Well, you're printing 2, right, so it'd probably be like 8 pages. But remember then, your seam allowance is quite a bit larger than needed, right? But these are cute. These are great to use up all those fun little crazy scraps. You can put all sorts of different scrappiness, happiness, or whatever going into these, and it would be just darling. Now, these are just really cute, fast, quick to peel. Like the only part you're gonna have problems peeling is that thin propeller and the tail. That's it. That's the only part that's gonna get really, get your tweezers out to get that paper out, just because it's a little finicky sometimes. But yeah, these come together actually quite quickly, and I know we lost like the last 30 seconds of filming at the end of me putting these. This basically, you missed me putting on the rest of the stay stitching, but that's it. So here they are, very quick and easy to peel. Now, I do hope you guys are having fun with this. And just because I picked pink and gray, I hope you guys are using whatever colors you want. I mean, it's going to be a fun way of using up your scraps. So, until we meet each other again, I hope you have an absolutely fabulous week ahead. And life is treating you very gently. And you get the time to hang out with your other sewing friends too. So you guys stay well and take care until we meet each other again. Okay, bye! My husband and I would like to thank you for all of your support and watching our videos and sharing and liking. It has just been, you've put us on such an amazing journey, and we are having so much fun. I hope everything is going so well in your life, and your 1/4 inch is perfect. Everything is working out for you. And we're just so happy to be part of your lives, and you having, like I say, you're watching us. I was just so thrilled that you're doing that. So I want to say goodbye, and I want to thank you with all my heart. Okay? Take care. Bye.